The 11th episode starts with the scene when Sophia stabs Bugig Alp, and Osman and other Alps roar, but nobody could do anything. Osman says, "Hang on my brother, don't bow down." Then Osman refers toward any eye of Quran. Allah says in Surah Baqarah, "Do you think that you will enter paradise while such trials has not yet come to you, as came to those who passed on before you?" Then he starts saying Allahu Akbar. His Alps follow him and they all start saying Allahu Akbar in louder and louder voice. Sophia and other soldiers become frustrated. Sophia says to Salvador, "Stop them saying that word." They try to stop them by beating, but nobody stops. Sophia and soldiers again start beating them hardly. Afanda Giannis comes and rejoices at the view he sees. He says, "This is my flawless victory." In the next scene, Bamzi Alp wants to attack the castle, but Dunder Bey does not allow him. Bamzi Bey says, "Dunder Bey, we know who did this. Now order us." Kali's Alps will raid Kalukahisar castle. "Why do you think it's Kalukahisar, Bamzi Bey?" Sophia and Kalanos came to our tents and they want friendship, we don't even know who did this. Meanwhile Salkan Hatchin says, "Almighty Ten of Suleiman Shah. Who is sitting on your coat now?" He can't even recognize the enemies and friends. Whereas I realized the devil when I just arrived. How can't Vo see Sophia's real face? It's not like the fast you came from Salkan Helen. This border has a critical balance in diplomatics. She doesn't look at herself and trying to teach us diplomatics. Your period past Salkan Hatchin. And try to prevent our business, I won't just say words, know that. Look at her, Bamzi, a stranger would think she was a sultan. Don't make me go mad. Salkan Hatchin says, "Know your limits, Thor." Shut up, Salkan Hatchin. If you ever argue like this again, I will cut your tongues. Dunder Bey says, Salkan Hatchin's insistence on this matter makes everything worse. Then he says that Gunduts Bey and Bamzi Alp will go to the castle and talk to Princess Sophia. Dunder Bey assigns his son Badr Alp and his Alps to search for Osman. Afanda Giannis is happy to catch Osman Bey and thinks he has won everything. Giannis sends Sophia back to castle and says that Dunder Bey or Gunduts will come to you for asking about Osman. In the next scene, Afandi Giannis comes and says to Osman, "Look what I have achieved, what have captured you and your brave Alps." Osman says that the war just begun, and I'm happy to see my enemy who is a devil. You want to know about Sheikh Adabali and the treasure and assure you that you will not get that. Giannis says that I've taken an important character of your state which is enough to disrespect you among the Turks. Osman says, "Giannis, you cannot disrespect us till the last Turk is alive on these lands. And he will be enough to destroy you and your tyranny." Giannis gets frustrated and starts torturing him. He heats up an iron bar and burns Osman's arm. He says to Osman that now show us your strength. Osman Bey resists Afanda Giannis' torture and says nothing to him. Afanda Giannis tortured Osman Bey with a hot iron. Afanda Giannis continues to ask where Sheikh Edabali is but receives no answer. The Alps of Osman Bey begin to read surahs and thus they endure heavy tortures. During the torture, Osman says to Giannis, "Okay, let me tell you where is Adabali." When Giannis comes closer to him, he hits Giannis's head so hard that he falls on the ground. Soldiers again start beating them. But Osman and his Alps again start saying Allahu Akbar in louder voice. In the next scene, Badr Alp and Samsa Chavis meet in the forest. They are not good because of what happened to Osman Bey in the recent events. In the next scene, Bamzi Alp and Gunduts Bey go to the castle and talk to Princess Sophia about Osman. Princess Sophia says that she does not know anything about Osman Bey. Bamzi Alp says that if something happens to Osman Bey in the Alps, he will destroy the castle. Princess Sophia says that she will keep the peace and even she has lost her husband to achieve this peace. Bamzi Bey says, "Kalukahisar did this. You should be scared of us. You are threatening us on our lands and our castle." Gunduts Bey, "We can't threaten clans. It's the order of Suleiman Shah's son Dunder Bey. If it's you who killed our Alps, who attacked our bevs and harmed our union, I swear on the faith in our hearts, we will break your door with our thunder-nailed horses. And we will make your walls gravestones for you." Sophia says, "We are our most powerful allies. Why would we do this? We killed the traitor among us. I lost my father for this peace. Whoever breaks this peace, I will kill him." In the next scene, Giannis comes to his senses and finds that Osman is faint due to torture. He says that Osman is still standing as a lion even after too much torture. He decides to go to the castle and asks the soldiers to keep torturing them until they tell Sheikh Adabali's location. In the next scene, Dursun goes to the castle to convey Sheikh Edebali's message, but the soldiers recognize his face. He tries to go to Princess Sophia by using a soldier taken hostage. In the next scene, Badr Alp tries to learn the location of Osman by bribing the Christian soldier named Juan, that he has taken hostage. Badr says that if you get me Osman's head, I will give you more gold coins. The soldier agrees to bring Osman Bey's head. Meanwhile, Osman Bey faints because of torture and has a dream. In this dream, Osman Bey wears a white dress and talks to Sheikh Edebali. "Where are you?" Sheikh Edebali says, "People have their beloved ones in their hearts. Don't look for me elsewhere." "Thanks to Allah, Edebali, they tied my hands and everything. I am desperate. I have no power left. People who find real freedom in Allah's way can't be held captives, son. Why am I suffering? How can I get rid of this? The cure is hidden in the problem. You will see." Osman Bey says he is helpless and asks Sheikh Edebali's help to be free. Sheikh Edebali gives Osman Bey a handful of clay, but Osman Bey cannot take it because his hands are tied. Osman Bey continues to try and get rid of his chains, and take the clay in his hand. Sheikh Edebali tells that the real treasure is knowledge, that he should save himself from his evil features, and not give up hope from Allah. "You will learn so your knowledge will go further. Real treasure is science." Osman treasures are only obvious to the ones who can see. You think Allah who sees hears and knows everything. Separate the dirt, and reach the treasure. Osman Bey continues to extract the clay and wakes up from his dream. Then he begins to recite ayah of Quran, which means undoubtedly. Along with the hardship there is ease, so undoubtedly. Along with the hardship there is ease, so undoubtedly. Along with the hardship there is case in trying to open his cuffs. In the next scene, Bola Hatchin comes to Kali Plain, but Igul Hatchin does not meet her will. Bola Hatchin does not accept Igul's charges. Meanwhile, Selkin Hatchin comes and ends their discussion. In the next scene, Dursun comes across Princess Sophia and states that he wants to say the offer of Sheikh Edebali. Princess Sophia is ready to listen to the offer, but Dursun starts waiting for Afanda Yunus, as he is not in the castle. Osman Bey and the Alps try to get rid of the chains. Osman Bey saves his one hand and neutralizes the military who comes to control him. Then Osman Bey gets rid of all the chains. In the next scene, Selkin Hatchin is worried about Osman Bey and Bala Hatchin tries to calm her down. This situation bothers Zor Hatchin. The tension between Zor Hatchin and Selkin Hatchin is gradually increasing. Selkin Hatchin wants to host Bala as a guest in her tent, and if there is a problem, she asks Dunder Bey to come and talk to her face to face. In the next scene, Osman Bey removes the chains in the Alps. Meanwhile, Byzantine soldiers notice this situation and the fight started. In the next scene, Dursun's waiting does not take long and Afanda Yunus comes to the castle. Dursun says that Sheikh Edebali will give the sacred treasure to save Osman Bey, but the only condition is that Sheikh Edebali sees Osman Bey as safe and sound. Afanda Yunus accepts this requirement and asks Magala to take Osman Bey to the exchange location. In the next scene, the Christian soldier released by Badr Alp returns to kill Osman Bey. He sees them escaping and tells that Badr Alp wants Osman to die. Osman and Alps get shocked. But Badr Alp, who was chasing him to know where Osman is, comes at the last moment and helps Osman Bey fighting those soldiers. Badr Alp says that he made a plan to find the location of Osman and Osman Bey is released. Then Bamzi Bey, Gunduz Bey and Abdul Rahman Alp also reached in the cave. Osman thanks them for coming and then he sees Abdurrahman Ghazi. He thinks his father has come also, because Abdul Rahman Ghazi was with him. Osman hugs him with the hope that at last he will see his father after all these years. Osman sees him with question in his eyes. Then he looked at the empty passage. He couldn't find his father Ertuğrul Bey, and becomes tense. Then Gunduz Bey says that Ertuğrul Bey is sick, he has not come back to Plain yet. Osman gets much worried. In the next scene, Selkin Hatchin and Bala Hatchin get closer and closer. Selkin Hatchin talks about Osman's childhood. She shows her Osman's childhood clothes. Bala Hatchin asks about Osman. Selkin Hatchin says Osman's mother died on his birth. He grown up with Alps training all day. He was best in everything from his childhood. Then she told her that Osman loves you, Bala Hatchin. Meanwhile, Osman Bey, Gunduz Bey, Bamzi Alp, Abdurrahman Ghazi and the Alps come back to the Kali Plain. Osman Bey sees that Dunder Bey represents his father's place when he saw his father's ring in his hand. Dunder Bey raises his hand towards him. Osman sees this and bows down, but he doesn't kiss the ring. but his hand, which means he doesn't obey him at his father's place. Thunder Bey congratulates Badr Alp for saving Osman Bey. Selkan Hatchin tells Osman Bey that Bala is in the tent. Everyone goes back to the tents. In the next scene, Magala and soldiers learn that the prisoners have escaped. He runs back to find them. In the next scene, Osman Bey comes to see Bala. Bala Hatchin is happy to see Osman. Osman says that I have crossed rivers of difficulties and now I have you with me. My Allah has given me heaven as a gift, Bala. She says, I prayed for you with my every breath. But at the same time, she is sad that Osman was injured. She says him to go for treatment in the tent. Osman says, your face is my cure and your eyes are light in my dark nights. Episode 11 ends here.